In fact, when it comes to people with college degrees, gender inequality is actually worse than it was in 1972, but now it's in favor of women, whereas in the 70s it was in favor of men. Hello. I'm sure you already saw the title of this video, so before we get started, I want to preface everything by saying that this video is by no means saying that women shouldn't or can't also skip college. In fact, if you don't know me, hello, my name is Roni, I'm 22 years old, and I personally skipped college, and now I make 6 figures living in Manhattan. But what this video is about is the possibility that for some, if not many men, it might actually be more beneficial to skip college and go down an alternate path than it is for them to continue going to college. About a month ago, a video by Big Think went viral where Richard Reeves talks about how many systems in modern society, specifically education, are failing men. To kind of sum up the video for you, he talked about how in grade school, girls are almost an entire grade level ahead of boys of their same age. He also talked about how in high school, the top 10% of students, so students with the highest GPA and the highest academic performance, are 2/3 women, whereas in the bottom 10%, they're 2/3 men. Going even beyond elementary school and high school, Richard Reeves talks about how there is more than a 10% enrollment gap in college between men and women. In fact, when it comes to people with college degrees, gender inequality is actually worse than it was in 1972, but now it's in favor of women, whereas in the 70s it was in favor of men. Now, Richard Reeves does a much better job of actually analyzing the data and talking through it with greater detail, so again, that video is linked down below if you want to check it out. But one of the things that he does mention in the video is that men are still performing pretty well in vocational schools. Now, if you don't know what a vocational school is, it's basically a trade school or a kind of an associate's degree program that teaches more concrete skills like welding and being a mechanic, those types of things. So what I'm here to talk about today is why men should actually skip college and consider alternate paths like vocational school. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, men with college degrees are 3 times more likely to be unemployed than women with college degrees. Now, there are many factors that could contribute to that. It could be possible that the fields that men are going into aren't growing as much, don't have as many job openings. It's also possible that employers might be biased in favor of women, or that maybe women are more likely to settle for being underemployed and take a lower paying job than they deserve in order to make sure that they have a stream of income, whereas men are more risk-taking and more likely to stay unemployed for longer. Regardless of the potential factors that might go into this statistic, it's still pretty alarming that 20% of men with bachelor's degrees are unemployed, especially given the exorbitant cost of college, that it really isn't actually helping men in getting a career or getting a job that is worth their time in school. Now, I did a little bit of research on my own as to which jobs are attracting the highest ratio of women versus which jobs are attracting the highest ratio of men. Now, my thought process behind that was if men can avoid the jobs where women are most gravitating towards, they'll be able to avoid that extra competition because, as we've discussed, women tend to be more educated in modern society than men, and therefore the competition is much, much harsher. The jobs with the highest ratio of women are teachers and childcare workers, administrative assistants, medical assistants, and dietitians. Whereas the jobs with the highest ratio of men are plumbers, electricians, carpenters, and mechanics. Now, what this says to me is that in modern society, where women are on average more educated and have more career opportunities than men, they are still avoiding these types of manual labor trade industry jobs. That presents a huge opportunity for men to gravitate back into those jobs because there's less competition from women. Not to mention that in the United States, there is actually a huge shortage of these types of trade labor. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, over 8 million skilled labor jobs were lost during the pandemic, and since then, only 4 million of those have been filled, which means that we have a 50% vacancy in these types of skilled trade jobs. Now, obviously, women are equally capable of filling these skilled labor jobs, but the fact of the matter is the labor market is skewed in favor of women, and despite these favorable conditions, women still aren't gravitating towards these manual labor jobs. Now, I know what you're thinking. Skilled labor jobs tend to make less money on average than jobs that require a bachelor's degree, right? Well, that's not entirely true. According to ZipRecruiter, the average annual salary for the trades is $44,000 a year, whereas the average salary for an entry-level job position that requires a bachelor's degree is only $33,000 per year. I know that people will make the argument that there is more possibility for career growth and salary growth if you have a college degree than if not, but I'm not sure that that's actually the case. It's really hard to find numbers and statistics to verify the career and salary potential of a person because it depends on a lot of factors like the industry that they're in and how long they've been in the workforce, what their experience looks like. But on average, Americans only make $54,000 a year. So if you spend 4 years getting a college degree and then have 10 years of student debt, that definitely eats away at your long-term savings, whereas if you jump into the workforce after 2 years of an associate's degree or a trades degree and start making more money right off the bat, I would imagine that it at least balances out, because if you work in the trades, you have a higher entry-level salary and more work experience and no student debt. So even if your colleagues surpass you at some point down the road, it's entirely possible that you will have made more money over the course of your life than somebody who has student debt and who takes longer to ramp up and grow their salary. Not to mention that we're heading into a recession, so many of you have probably heard that a lot of big tech companies and other companies in general have started laying off their bachelor's degree, STEM degree workers. It's no longer safe to say that if you have a STEM degree and you work in tech, that you're good to go and you'll have stable employment and you'll make enough money to support yourself. In fact, when we hit a recession, people stop spending money on superfluous services like a lot of what the tech industry serves, and instead only save money on necessities, which honestly would probably include things like plumbing and locksmiths and mechanics. Those types of things don't tend to go away when people start saving money. So to kind of summarize this video, men and women are both competing very fiercely in the 21st century for jobs. And as it stands now, women are performing better in terms of college enrollment, college graduation, and employment rate. However, women are leaving a huge opportunity in the skilled labor industry, where if they wanted to take those jobs, they would, but the numbers show that women are still not filling these roles. Now, these roles happen to coincide with the vocational track that Richard Reeves mentioned men still tend to perform well in, as opposed to the collegiate and higher education path. Not to mention that the skilled labor industry still has a shortage of employment, and the average entry-level salary actually exceeds that of entry-level jobs that require a bachelor's degree. Now, regardless if you are a man or a woman or want to pursue college or not, I'll go ahead and leave some resources below on the different types of trades that exist, and so you can feel free to explore your options. I highly, highly, highly encourage everybody to at least consider not going to college, because while it is for some people, it is not for everybody, and it can have a huge monetary consequence. So if you like this video, please feel free to check out some of my previous ones, and as always, good luck out.